We're back, babies. It's been a little while since I did one of these. It's been a little while since I had time to do one of these. But it feels good to be back. And this is a song that I'm really excited about. It's definitely the song that I am the most proud of in recent memory. Maybe ever. I think it's a really good song. And per usual, I'm just going to let it play first thing. We can listen to it. And then if you want to stick around, I'll break down how I made it. This song is called Suffocate, and it's by my band, Burn Party. Check it out. To my Damn, I love that song. I'm really proud of it. I started it, probably 8 years ago, back during my undergrad days. And it all started with this guitar part, which I played. I don't feel like grabbing it, but I have this little basically a children's acoustic guitar that I got from Guitar Center for like $80 years and years ago. And I put nylon strings on it. It's so quiet and so delicate, but I really love how it sounds. And I put it in a weird tuning, like an open tuning. It's like a D open tuning with like a sus note in there somewhere. And I started playing around, and I just wrote this guitar part, this looping guitar part that's kind of the foundation of the whole song. It sounds like this. It's got that little thumb slap on the bottom string. And that just loops on and on and on and on. I guess I kind of just sat there and did a very long take of it and chopped out the best parts where I played it cleanly and just sort of laid them out. And it just runs throughout the whole song, except for this part, which is fingerpicked. Wow, that's noisy. I just love that. I could listen to that all day. So yeah, that's kind of the foundation of the song. I guess we can take a look at my effects chain if you want. Maybe get a little more into the nitty gritty. What do we got? I've got a clipper on here because I hate dealing with errant peaks. I find transients very annoying to deal with, so I just like to clip off the top. It's probably kind of an amateur move, but it's what works for me. EQ. Here's what it sounds like without the EQ. A lot of boomy low end junk. Just take that out. Add some high end. Make it crisp. A little compression. And this is like a transient manager clipper. As you can see, we're just clipping off the very top. I just hate dealing with transients. Just clip them, baby. So that's the guitar part. All right, let's take a look at the drums. So first we've got, I actually had to cut the video because it takes this plugin so long to load. It takes, no joke, like 10 minutes to load. But it's worth it. It's called Studio Drummer by Native Instruments. So this is one element of the drum mix. So we got kind of a train beat going on. A nice kick. You got this nice little mixing interface, so you can kind of do all your drum processing right here in the plugin, which is nice. EQ and compression, all that stuff. So that's part of the drum mix. We've got a CR78. This is the Bossa 2 preset rhythm and the Rock 2 preset rhythm together, panned left and right. I love layering drum loops like this because you end up with sort of a more interesting layered rhythm with a little bit of stereo action. Sounds cool. And then sometimes the rock beat cuts out and it's just the bossa beat. Got that running through a bit of Melda reverb, which I'm a big fan of. So we got Studio Drummer, the CR78. What else? Big fat drum. I have this big, stupid kind of djembe drum over there in the corner that I bust out sometimes. It's like a big hunk of wood, hollow, obviously, and it's got, I think, real animal skin and like tendons holding the heads on. So it's an interesting piece. I usually use it as a table, but I do occasionally use it as a drum. Here's what it sounds like. You can see I sort of chopped it up. Made this kind of loop out of it. And it just goes like that. Percussion is huge for me. Tambourine and shaker, I put those in every song. You play a tambourine and a shaker on your tune, and you're instantly adding, I would say, 30% groove. I mean, that's just groovy. I actually played the tambourine a few different ways to sort of change the energy throughout the song. This is cool. I panned these tambourine hits left and right. Kind of a fun effect. And then later in the song, when we're really rolling, you know, I'm shaking that bitch hard. And it really just adds this like urgency and movement to the music that I just love. Nice bright tambourine. I like to darken my shaker a little bit, so it's sort of just mid-range and, you know, some low mid. Kind of a dark, soft, fuzzy sort of sound. And then I like to let the tambourine be the sparkly high-end element. So with all of that together, this is what the drum mix sounds like. I just love that. So many different elements all coming together to make this nice groove. And I love my big stupid drum. I think it gives the drums a lot of character. There's actually kind of a lot going on with the electric guitar. So here is, I called these plinkies. Got some little plinkies here. This is 3 hammer-ons, basically. 3 different tracks of hammering on, and I just layered them. I guess we've got one panned kind of hard left, one about half left, and one hard right. And yeah, it's just me playing 3 different kind of hammer-on licks and creating this interlocking, sort of hocketing guitar part. And then we've got these sort of licks at the very beginning and the very end, and down here in the bridge a little bit. Nice little melody there. I played some kind of similar stuff here in the bridge. It's just more drawn out and elongated. And less distorted as well. Yeah. If you're wondering what I used for distortion on that lead, it's actually a character compressor plugin by Aberrant DSP, who I've become a big fan of. That's called Shapeshifter. And it's a compressor, of course, with an interesting interface, but you've also got this drive section down here, which can sound really good. It doesn't always sound good on everything, but when I can use it, I really like to. Just gives it some nice edge. I thought about doing that completely clean, but I really like just that little bit of edge that this plugin gives it. Not too distorted, not too clean. It's really groovy. There's something like kind of vintage about this lead. I don't know. Something kind of... I might say that the guitar was kind of Fleetwood Mac inspired. Not like I'm a huge fan of Fleetwood Mac, but something about like there's at the end of a Fleetwood Mac song, there's this guitar solo that sounds a lot like this. Maybe you can tell me in the comments what it is if you know it. But he's playing these hammer-ons like way up on the neck, and it just sounds very glassy. These little plinky, glassy hammer-ons sound so cool. And yeah, just something about this groove feels sort of like vintage or retro to me. I don't really know why. I have kind of a love-hate relationship with the guitar. I don't consider myself to be a very good player, but god damn, it can sound good. It can sound good if you know what you're doing, which I rarely do, but I like what I was able to do here. A little bit of slapback verb. I used ROM by Native Instruments, which I'm a huge fan of. Just a very short decay, half a second, a little bit of pre-delay. Sounds great. Love it. Bass, not much to say here. Just, it's bass. It's a bass guitar. Not sure why I EQ'd it so aggressively. I'm not sure what I was hearing. We've got a sidechain signal coming in from, I guess it's the kick drum. Just to give the kick some space. Make sure you can hear it over the bass line. Look, it's another clipper. Yeah, not a great bass line. But just kind of fills out the low end like a bass line should. Doesn't look like I really added any processing at all. It's just the straight up DI bass guitar. I should also say this is the pre-master session. So I have the mastered song is out. I think the mastering engineer, my teacher at Cal Arts, John Tejada, shout out. I think he did a little bit of a low end boost and a little bit of a low mid reduction. So the master sounds ever so slightly better than this pre-master session, but it's close enough to give you the idea, I'm sure. Oh, we've got this soft kind of synth lead, analog synth lead that comes in later in the song. This is actually one of the presets on the DeepMind 12 that I tweaked a little bit and kind of made my own. I saved my own version, but it's this nice creamy analog lead that I just love. I use it all the time. And I just played a bunch of nonsense and chopped it up and layered it, and it gives you this nice little world of soft synth stuff. And with the whole track playing, you don't really hear it that much. It's just kind of adds a little something extra to the whole picture.
You know, so don't be scared to let me go. And if it hurts to say out loud, just look into my eyes.
It's barely audible, really. I should say these solid plugins by Native Instruments, they're rip-offs, well, they're whatever you want to call them, homages to solid-state Logic gear, which I admire from afar because I will never be able to afford any of it. But I love the look of that gear and the kind of their design philosophy. And Native Instruments created their own little sort of digital rip-offs, homages, sorry, which I'm a huge fan of. There's just this nice balance between simplicity and usability. You know, a nice little 4-band EQ here. They're just nice. I love this bus compressor. Very simple interface. I use it on everything. These two plugins I use in every single session, without a doubt. Down here I have a reference track. It's actually a Kings of Convenience song, which of course I can't play for you because the video will be stricken from YouTube for copyright infringement. But I think it's Know How by Kings of Convenience. That's sort of what I had in mind while I was mixing this song. I guess all that's really left is the vocals, which, oh boy, I mean, I love these vocals. These are so me. By which I mean there are way too many harmony tracks. Everything over here under this Vox folder. I mean, how many tracks is that? A lot of vocal tracks. As you can see, a lot of intricate automation throughout the tune. All these items have been edited by hand, tuned by hand. This little turquoise automation band on the item is tuning. So, you know, if we were a little out of tune on some of these takes, I just kind of tuned them up, made sure everything sounded good. So this is my bandmate Cree's vocal over here.
You're holding on to me too tight, and while I lie awake at night, I think of what I'd do if I were free.
Beautiful. They are such a better singer than I am. That's for damn sure. Yeah, I know the effects on that sound kind of intense, but in context, I would say it sounds pretty good.
You're holding on to me too tight, and while I lie awake at night, I think of what I do.
Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So there's Cree's main vocal. My main vocal should be around here somewhere. Oh yeah, I like to do a stack of main vocals usually. So I'll do one in the center, one on the left, one on the right, just to make it sound nice and thick. Look into my eyes. You know. It's cold. You didn't want the comfort of the shelter I tried to be. So I have this, just the center vocal by itself. And then once we get to those bigger moments like the chorus or wherever, I'll introduce the left and right main vocals just to thicken up the whole thing. So those are all the main vocals. And then where I really like to go wild is with my harmonies. So I've got this harmony bus over here. Me and Cree each have 5 backup harmony tracks. So that's 10 tracks of harmony right there. Oh, man, that's nice. And I'm sure you can hear that these vocals are just mercilessly compressed. I mean, with everything else going on in the mix, I really felt the need to squish these and bring the level way up so they can compete and you know, still sit in the middle of the mix and keep your attention. So the chorus has this little sort of call and response thing. Can't you let me try? Where it's the two characters sort of talking to each other, going back and forth. Can't you let me try? If you look into my eyes. So we've got the main vocal, the backup vocals, and this call and response CNR section. I also like to, I like each chorus, you know, as the song unfolds, I like each chorus to be a little more intense and give you a little more to pick at with your ear, you know. You want to keep the listener's interest, so you keep kind of beginning the song until your final chorus, where you should really just let loose, amp up the intensity. You know, it's the end of the song. You want to finish strong. So that's what I like to do. I like to, you know, my first chorus it'll give you the idea of the chorus, but not necessarily the full intensity. And then the second chorus, there'll be a little more. And then the final chorus, that's going to be balls out. So I guess I'll play you the vocals in each chorus so you can kind of see how I build on it a little, iterate on it a bit each time. So here's chorus 1. Look into my eyes. We've got just a couple harmonies here, and it's just me, because this first half of the song is kind of my character, you know, telling their side of the story. Look into my eyes.
too late. I promise I can see the truth if you look into my eyes.
And then we've got the second chorus here.
Look into my eyes.
We're introducing Cree's vocals for the first time in the song.
What do you want from me? If you still see me, look into my eyes.
Some more harmonies. Sounds pretty nice.
Help me understand. I'm right here, just look into my eyes.
And then for the last chorus, we go crazy. I mean, look at all these harmony tracks. We're using everything at our disposal here. And I'm really proud of these harmonies. I think they sound great. Check this out.
I'll just look into my eyes. Can't you let me try? Truth if you look into my eyes.
It's a whole choir,
Don't make me say goodbye. Still my love and look into my eyes.
Yeah. When I'm working on a song, there are some things that I just want to get laid down as quickly as possible. And then there are some things that I really labor over and take my time on. And harmonies are definitely something that I really will sit there and fixate on for hours and hours because I want to really get those right. So anyway, let's hear those harmonies by themselves.
My eyes.
Whoa. Are you kidding me? I just think that's so nice.
Look into my eyes.
And I'm glad to be able to say that I've gotten to the point where I can just hear those harmonies in my head and quickly, I'm not saying I'm Jacob Collier or anything, but I can hear the harmony lines that I want. I can hear that kind of full choir in my head, and I can hear right away which lines need to be added to produce a stack of harmonies that sounds a certain way. When we were tracking this, I could just be like, okay, I need this sort of foundational harmony, and I need this, and I need this. I can just hear kind of layer by layer what needs to be added next, and then you end up with this nice choir. Yeah. Oh, goddamn. I love that. I guess I could delve a little deeper into the kind of processing I like to do. Well, first of all, the way I usually lay things out is I'll have this main vocal submix, bus, whatever you want to call it. And laying things out this way, you can iteratively process stuff. Like, for example, Cree's main vocal. I have all this processing going on, some tuning, some EQ, compression, a clipper, another clipper. I be clipping. My vocals have some much needed tuning. The harmony bus, we got an EQ to cut out the low, another EQ, further cutting the lows, adding some high. I was working pretty fast, so this is not the cleanest effects chain by any means, but got some compression. This saturator plugin, which, I don't know, saturation, I don't really completely get it, I have to admit. Like, I guess I'm not the best at hearing harmonics, but I just kind of take everyone's word for it that saturation is important and helps things stand out, even though I don't super hear it all the time. But anyway, this is a nice little, you can do a little EQ here, add in some treble, take out some bass. You can add compression if you want in this plugin. I never do. But anyway, you've got this drive section over here, which introduces harmonics. I just like to use, this is like a good, quick and dirty way to thicken up my harmony bus. So I'll usually slap it on there somewhere. And another clipper, you already know. So these are very aggressively EQ'd. You can hear there's really no low end. A lot of that saturation, drive, whatever you want to call it. I mean, like most things in my sessions, if you're listening to it by itself, it sounds kind of like shit. But in the context of a mix, I think it sounds pretty good. So I guess maybe that's what people mean when they say saturation helps things stand out. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I can process these buses, moving upwards into other buses, moving upwards into other buses, and finally moving all the way up into this master vocal bus submix. And you can keep, adding processing as needed as you go up that folder structure. I don't know if other DAWs have this. I'm not sure if this is something that's unique to Reaper, but I've really gotten used to it. Stacking tracks and processing upwards all the way into kind of a master bus folder. I've really gotten used to this way of working. And usually by the time I get all the way up to that master submix or bus, any processing I do will be pretty light. So you can see I've got just a dB of low mid taken out here, a dB of high end taken out, some light compression, with a 1.5 ratio, nothing crazy. And oops, it's another clipper. Somebody should let me know. Am I completely ruining my mixes by clipping everything? I saw those clip to zero videos, and I think they kind of broke my brain. I love getting rid of those annoying little transients, those little flyaway peaks. I hate dealing with those, so I'll just clip and clip and clip. And eventually I have probably 4 or 5 clippers sitting on top of each other by the time we get all the way up to this master folder. So hopefully I'm not completely ruining my audio by doing that. Somebody let me know. I guess that's really all there is to say. That was Suffocate by Burn Party. Check us out. We're on all the streaming. This is our one and only song at the moment. It's our debut song, and we're very, very proud of it. I want to give a shout out to Cree, my bandmate. This song was incomplete without them, and they were the final element that I think really made it great. Super proud of this song. Super excited for the music we're going to make next. Shout out to Burn Party. Shout out to John Tejada for graciously doing our final master. And shout out to you if you're watching this. I really appreciate it. I hope this was interesting, and I hope it inspires you to make something of your own. Hopefully it won't be too long until the next one.